An inquest into the of Brisbane bus driver Manmeet Alisher has heard he knew he had problems and urged officers to lock him up because he wanted to hurt people. The coroner today heard Anthony O'Donoghue had suffered with delusions for years before lighting and throwing a Molotov cocktail at Mr Alisher, also known as Manmeet Sharma, on a bus in October 2016, in him and forcing 14 others to flee the burning vehicle. Second man charged after body found under concrete slab at Brisbane Transport Depot. Manmeet Alisher, also known as Manmeet Sharma, was by Mr O'Donoghue in October 2016. The coroner heard Mr O'Donoghue had visited a police station 5 years before the attack, holding a hammer, box cutters and a tyre lever. A psychiatrist told the hearing Mr O'Donoghue had told police he needed to be locked up because he will hurt someone. Dr. Mark Barnes from the Community Forensic Outreach Service told the inquest Mr O'Donoghue's mental health had not been consistently treated. His symptoms had been around for some years, this core delusion, persecution, it had never been consistently treated, he said. The inquest heard Mr O'Donoghue had suffered with delusions for years. The inquest heard Dr. Barnes, Mr O'Donoghue's initial assessor, had recommended he remain on an involuntary treatment order. But it was heard this information was not passed on to Metro South Health, which discontinued Mr O'Donoghue's treatment 2 months before the attack on Mr Alisher. At the time our reports weren't put onto the electronic database, Dr. Barnes said. For various reasons, that is the case now, there are more safeguards. Mr Alisher's friend Pinky Singh said it was a difficult time for friends and family. Definitely someone has failed us, he said. The inquest into the incident is examining what more can be done to protect bus drivers from assault. The inquest is also examining what more can be done to protect drivers on Brisbane buses, as assaults continue to rise despite a 40% drop in bus use since the start of the pandemic. Last year, there were 711 assaults on bus drivers in Queensland, with the coroner examining whether full security screens are necessary to prevent future attacks. Former manager of bus operations at Brisbane City Council Matt Anderson said the proposed perspex screens would not be viable and would come at a significant cost. Many of the barriers that were proposed for implementation were perspex screens. Perspex screens generate significant glare, he said. Tom Brown from the Rail, Train and Bus Union said criticisms of the screens primarily concerned costs. They say it's this and they say it's that. But it comes down to money, I think, Mr Brown said.